I'm not gonna lie, today I didn't have plans to record a video. I already had a video. Oh, I've got a bit when it's Somerset there. I already had a video scheduled for today, but I'm gonna have to push that back for tomorrow, because we have some Doctor Who news to talk about. Because it was already rumoured that our finale, Reality War, especially because of the cinematic release, wasn't going to be shown early ahead of time, and now that's been confirmed. But there is an interesting quote in Russel's thought process that we can talk about.
The Doctor is doomed, Belinda is lost, Ruby is trapped, Unit is powerless, the unholy Trinity rules supreme, and the Underverse is rising.
Now the bit I want to talk about is the unholy Trinity. If you don't know, if something's a Trinity, there's usually 3 of them. Which means today I want to theorise who I think the unholy Trinity could be. Now let's tick off some options that I definitely don't think are going to be part of this Trinity. We know Conrad from Lucky Day is going to be in the finale. And by the way, we know the finale, obviously being called Reality War, and we've seen from some set photos, we're probably dealing with an alternate reality style story. And I personally believe that Conrad is going to be part of the alternate reality side of things, but not necessarily as one of the unholy Trinity. Because I think the unholy Trinity are going to be gods. I am more than happy to be proved wrong, as I have been quite vocal about. I don't love the god side to this RTDT. I don't love the god side to this RTD. I can't say RTD2, I just managed it. I don't love the god side to this RTD2 thing, but I think that's where we're heading with an unholy Trinity. For this same reason, I don't think we're going to go down a Time Lord kind of route. People have suggested maybe the Master, maybe Missy, maybe the Rani. I obviously we know we could be getting some Master stuff because of obviously some of the stuff at the end of the Giggle. I don't think this is where we're going with the Master. But again, I'm happy to be proved wrong if we get an interesting take on the Master. I won't say no, but I think we're going along the gods line. Now the interesting thing to talk about here is Mrs. Flood. Now obviously I think if my theory is correct and we are going down the gods route, which honestly isn't, you know, a pretty intense theory, I think that's pretty likely, Mrs. Flood has 2 options as a character. Option number 1. Mrs. Flood is a god herself. Option number 2. Mrs. Flood is a harbinger for one of the gods or a harbinger for the trilogy as a whole. Now if you'll allow me to stamp a prediction down, I'm gonna go with Harbinger. Now look, let me clarify, I'd be happy with either. I think Mrs. Flood is a cool character and I would rather she has lots to do than not much to do, so maybe she will be a god. I also think people will be annoyed if she was a Harbinger, because obviously Susan Twist was kind of like a Harbinger, so I think, you know, obviously people are making those comparisons between the 2 arcs, and that further comparison, it would be interesting if, you know, Mrs. Flood actually had the power, wasn't just, you know, a Harbinger. Maybe Mrs. Flood is a god, who knows, but I think those are our 2 options. You know what? How about we do it in this style? I'm going to float out some ideas, and then at the end, because I haven't actually made my mind up yet, I will stamp my 3 predictions. So now, let's talk gods. Wow, that was smooth, James. Well done, man. That was class. Now, one I quickly want to get out the way is something that is mentioned in The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Because Harriet Arbinger does mention the threefold deity of malice, mischief, and mayhem? I think it's those 3. It's 3 M's. So yes, if we are looking for a trilogy of characters, if we're looking for 3 characters that are all completely suited, that could be it. But I'm not using my stamp there because that would be dull. I don't know, I'm theorising. I want to theorise some interesting things, not just, oi, they've mentioned 3 people before who are gods, so that's my theory. Like, no, that'd be dull. Now let's get in to some really funky, interesting ones. Now I'm gonna say it here and now, stamp number 1, the Trickster. Look, it has already been confirmed in the Legend of Ruby Sunday that the Trickster is part of the pantheon of gods. And I think Russel knows how much love there is for the Trickster as a character and how much people would love the Trickster character to return. Plus, if we're like messing with timelines and doing alternate reality kind of stuff, that is the Trickster's shindingle. I'm putting my stamp down. Also, mainly because I would love for this to be the case. That would be the most exciting villain for a finale for me. That would make me... That character is one of those characters as a finale villain that would just make me so excited to have in proper Doctor Who. Yes, please, the Trickster. You know what? I was convinced Mrs. Flood is a harbinger, but I don't know. The character of Mrs. Flood seems too powerful and too self-aware to be a harbinger. Because let's talk about it this way round. My theory for the second god, and who I think it's going to be, I think we're going to get a returning god from the ones we've seen. I don't think we're talking Sutekh, because I don't think you'd bring Sutekh back in this context. I think otherwise you just lose complete weight to the Empire of Death finale. I don't think you're talking Mr. Ring-a-Ding, because that ending worked really, really well. I think we are probably talking Toymaker or Maestro, or maybe both Toymaker and Maestro. I would be interested in seeing both of those together. Look, and maybe we don't know. We don't actually know if we're wrapping up the God stuff here, if the God stuff is going into the potential Series 3, Series 4. Maybe the gods will never leave us as a concept in Doctor Who. But if this is the finale of the gods, it'll be interesting to see a return of a god once defeated. If I had to put a bet on it, I would probably say it's more likely to be Maestro. I love Neil Patrick Harris, and I would love it to be the Toymaker. Also, I would love it to be Maestro, to be fair. But the reason why I think it's Maestro is because not only is that more leakable if the Toymaker's coming back, but like Neil Patrick Harris is very famous and very popular, and I think it would have leaked by now if Neil Patrick Harris is coming back. It's less likely to leak if Maestro's coming back. So, Maestro, you are getting the stamp. I think you are part of the Unholy Trinity. And you know what? I am going to give the final stamp to Mrs. Flood. I've changed my mind. Not only do I think it would be too similar for the Susan Twist arc for it just to be another harbinger, but I think Russel is trying to set up Mrs. Flood as the third god, and with the fourth wall breaks and all of that stuff, I think that makes the most sense. So my final stamps are the Trickster, Maestro, and Mrs. Flood. But Mrs. Flood as revealed to be another god. What are your thoughts? Who are your 3 stamps? Let me know in the comments below. If enough people pop a comment in there, I will react to all your comments and see what I think of them. If anyone's got any new ideas, especially to the ones that I've mentioned in this video, whack them in the comments below. I'm very interested to see what you think. Drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, drop me a comment, all of that good stuff. Let's do a funky end of video dance. Doctor Who, hey, Doctor Who, Doctor Who. What? The TARDIS, Doctor Who. If you know, you know. Listen to that on Spotify. Doctor in the TARDIS. That's a gym banger, that is. I just see myself shoulder pressing. This is waffle. I'm gonna leave it in because what can I say? I ruddy love comedy. Jesus Christ.